Welcome to Ingrid's World. I am your host, Ingrid Paris-Hicklin. On this show, you meet 3 Fairfax County government managers who are making a difference in the lives of senior adults and their families. They will talk about trends, programs, services, and how we can find more information for senior adults. Then we'll meet the executive director of a home health care agency serving Northern Virginia. He will discuss options for senior care that include assisted living placement, in-home care, and home automation. I like to dedicate this show to my mother, because on my quest to find services for Mom to live well, she motivated me to do a show that would help others in similar situations. There is a silver tsunami on the horizon. Are we ready? Well, welcome to the show, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Great to meet you.
Thank you.
And Evan, so let's start with you. You are?
I'm Evan Braff. I'm a regional manager with the Department of Neighborhood and Community Services in Fairfax County.
Fantastic.
And I'm Toni Clemons-Porter. I'm the Associate Director of Senior Housing and Assisted Living for the Fairfax County Department of Housing and Community Development.
Fantastic.
And I'm Jennifer Robinson, and I work for the Health Department, and I'm the manager of the Adult Day Healthcare Program.
Experts, like I said. I'm so glad you're here. So let's start with trends. What are the trends that we're seeing in Fairfax County? Toni, did you want to take that one?
Sure. Well, quite honestly, you just mentioned the silver tsunami. I think many of us in the industry refer to it as that. But the senior population here in Fairfax, and it's not unlike actually throughout the world, quite frankly, the population of seniors are aging very rapidly. Back in 1970, it comprised here in Fairfax about 3% of the total population, and now we're beyond 11% of the total population. So it's growing very rapidly right now.
Oh my goodness. So tell us a little bit about the 50 Plus program. You know, you have a 50 Plus program.
So in Fairfax County, I think we've been very lucky. Our Board of Supervisors has been very forward-thinking. And so they have adopted and developed a 50 Plus plan. One of our sister agencies, the Area Agency on Aging, they actually oversee that plan. And part of that plan talks about making sure that these older adults, we want them to stay in this community. This is a place that they want to grow old in. And so we want to make sure that we have good recreation options as well as good housing options for them.
Yeah, and that's really the most important part about it. So what are the options? I mean, what kind of programs do we have out there?
So right here you have housing, neighborhood and community services, and the health department, and we've been very collaborative in the recent past and now. And so let's say you're a senior and you're living in the senior housing. You're a little bit low income and you're living in senior housing, but you want something to do, so you go to the senior center. And there's lots to do there. And but maybe you're aging a little bit and you're needing a little bit of help just to keep going to the senior center. So there's a service there that can help you with that and modify things and adapt things so that you can stay and keep going. But then if you start to deteriorate a little bit more, whether it's cognitively or physically, then there's the Adult Day Healthcare Program.
Wow.
And that's for people who can't be left alone during the day. They need supervision. And then there's assisted living that the county has to offer as well. So it's a whole continuum of care, and it's a real collaborative approach that the county has given us.
You know, and I think that that's really key in terms of figuring out exactly where you actually fit in this, because I saw this, you know, with my mom. It's just that some things were good at one point, and now we had to get additional services involved. But let's talk about a little bit about the senior centers.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
That's your favorite.
Absolutely. So to come to one of our senior centers, you just have to be 50 and over.
Okay.
And we have senior centers spread throughout Fairfax County. There's an annual membership fee to join the senior center. So that's based on your income, but the most you could pay in a year is about $48. So I always say—
For a whole year?
For a whole year, so I'd say that's $4 a month. That's one Happy Meal a month. And the types of activities that we have there are for active seniors who really want to do anything that you can think of. A big focus on health and wellness. So a variety of different classes for folks to get in, creative arts. And the older adults who come to these centers, they really plan and give us feedback on the types of programs that they want. And I think one of the things that Jennifer really highlighted is built in this is we want to make sure that we're providing an inclusive environment.
Right.
So if somebody needs a little additional assistance, we try to work with them on providing adaptations and modifications to participate. And when we reach a point where maybe that person requires a little more assistance and it's maybe in their best interest to move on to another type of program, we work very closely with adult day healthcare to make sure that there's a nice transition into those types of programs. So we work with people's caregivers to make sure we're supporting them, to make sure their loved one is in the right and safe environment.
So that just means really a lot, because when you're doing something, you really want to make sure your loved one, your parent, has like the best that you can possibly do. So, you know, as people get older, what are some of the issues that you come across, you know, in terms of supervision? And talk a little bit more about the adult daycare program, because that's one that really interests me.
Favorite.
Oh, yeah.
So for people who have cognitive or physical impairments, and you know, as we age, a lot of people get chronic illnesses and they need to get their medications, but they're not remembering when to take them. And so, or they're just not safe to be left alone.
Right.
And those are the clients, the participants that we care for. Oh. And it's in lieu of, most of the people that come to us really could be eligible for a nursing home, but they choose to live in the community and with their caregivers. So the caregiver gets to go to work while they come to us, and we have nurses and rec therapists, and we're open Monday through Friday, and we also take care of younger adults who have disabilities, and it's, you know, rec therapy. It's a lot of rec therapy. It's pet therapy, music therapy, field trips, meals. Medications, because they're monitored by the nurse. We're licensed by the state, so it's.
So they'll monitor the medication?
Yeah, during the day while they come to us. Yeah.
So both of our programs provide both meals and transportation.
Yeah.
Which I think for folks, that's just a really great benefit if you have an issue around mobility, or if you're not able to get a healthy meal. Right. You have two options of places that can really provide those types of needs.
Yeah. And so a lot of our folks, you know, you'll see, because with the senior centers, they're pretty independent for the most part. And then in our centers, we have people in wheelchairs and walkers and need help with personal care and continence, things like that. But it's a very caring, nurturing environment, but at the same time, it's a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, and what I like it is that, because you think that maybe is the next step, you know, nursing home, but what you're dispelling is the myth is that there is a system set up that the next step doesn't have to be the nursing home.
Absolutely not.
Wow. Yeah. So now, what about affordable, you know, housing? You know, I want to stay in my home. Is there any services and programs for me to be able to stay in house and assisted housing?
Sure. We're very fortunate here in Fairfax County to have 8 lovely properties that the county actually owns.
Wow.
And so through our department, the housing department, we have senior housing properties. We have 8 that have for independent living, that have efficiencies, 1-bedrooms, and several have even 2-bedroom units. Wow. They're all strategically located throughout the county. in various locations, and among some of them are actually co-located with the programs that we're talking about today.
Oh, nice.
And so places such as the Lincolnian in Annandale, Herndon Harbor House, those locations, and Little River Glen, those locations actually have services also on site, the senior center and adult day health care programs. And so we do a lot of collaboration together regarding independent housing. It's affordable housing. It's designed for seniors who are in the low to moderate income ranges.
Right.
And information can be obtained about rates and availability online. So you can get additional information that way. In addition to that, we also have 2 assisted living facilities. We're very fortunate to have that here in Fairfax County, that the county also owns. They're licensed settings, and it's designed for people who need some support in order to maintain their independence. They're intended for low to moderate income seniors, and without having these services here in Fairfax County, these individuals more than likely would not be able to stay in Fairfax. You know, so for instance, the Lincolnian, it's only costing a little over $1,400 a month, which is really a bargain for that kind of assistance.
Huge.
And Braddock Glen, which is a lovely facility, and the average rate is only about $28 to $3,300 a month for that particular location. In the private industry, it's much higher, as much as $6,800 in the private sector. So we're very fortunate that we're able to offer these services to help people to stay in our community.
Wow, that's fantastic. So so what I'm getting is that there is a way to actually, you know, have your, you know, you had your work life here in Fairfax, you've raised your children here, but you can continue. You don't have to go to Florida.
Right.
So I can actually stay in Fairfax County. I can go to a senior center. Evan, I want to ask you about the senior center. Do you have to be a Fairfax County resident to use the senior center?
You can be both. So you can be a Fairfax County resident. If you're out of county, there's a higher fee associated with that. But we want folks to come to our centers. I think usually when you think senior center, you're thinking people who aren't active and old. And once you walk through those doors, a few years ago, I tried to do one of the exercise classes. I couldn't even keep up with them. And so we have folks that are doing some real amazing things, and it's just a place to feel really connected with your community. And I think we know in the research in the world that we've done that when folks aren't social isolated, that the health benefits, when they feel really connected to their community, their health benefits increase tremendously. And so we want to make sure that folks feel connected and that they have access to the programs and services to remain in Fairfax County. And I think the Board of Supervisors, when they continually talk to our residents about the 50-plus plan, one of the things that they've heard, and we continue to hear, is that people have grown up here and they want to remain living here. This is home for them.
This is home. It really is. You know,
No place like home.
Yeah, it really is. You know the streets, you know the story. You have a relationship with the community. You know, and I think that's, you know, kudos to all of you for being able to do some magnificent work like this. So we have like a minute left. A passing thought, where can we get more information about the wonderful programs offered for senior adults?
Well, the Area Agency on Aging, I think, is the location where many people can go to. It's part of a national network, actually, but in Fairfax County, there is the Fairfax Area Agency on Aging. They have a wonderful website that links to all of our different departments.
Very nice.
So that you can find out about many of the opportunities and housing opportunities that we just spoke of.
Nice.
And so they really are the source to go to learn about.
Start there.
Start there. Just start there, and they offer they can talk to you about the continuum. They have even case managers who can go out into a person's home to help them to identify what services they need and then help them to plan and to come up with the resources that will meet those needs.
Okay, so that sounds really interesting. Because I've had conversations where people say, well, you know, I think mom kind of like needs assistance, but as the daughter, it's kind of hard. But if you can get a professional,
Yes.
kind of, let's say, moves it to another realm. Well, you all are doing magnificent work. I thank you so much,
Thank you very
Jennifer,
much.
meeting you and having you on the show, and Toni, seeing you again,
Thank you.
and Evan, thank you again for being on the show. This was exciting. It was very interesting to talk with all of these. So now everyone stay right there, because coming up next, we'll be talking with Michael San Juan, Executive Director of Always the Best Care Senior Services. So stay there, because we'll be right back. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hi, Ingrid. It's nice to see you again.
It's great having you on the show.
It's always a pleasure to see you.
Well, I want to first, let's introduce yourself, tell our viewers a little bit about who you are.
And my name is Michael San Juan, and I'm the Executive Director of a home health care agency serving the areas of Arlington and Alexandria. My background, I have worked with various pharmaceutical companies and opened several nursing homes.
Wow.
So it's about 25 years of long-term care, and I'm proud of that one.
Indeed. So we were always, because when I was telling you about my mom, we started talking about what are the options for senior adults. What are some of the options?
Well, the options right now for seniors ranges from assisted living placement, in-home care, and home automation. So I'll discuss that more in detail.
Let's start with about the first one, assisted living.
Assisted living is when somebody is staying at home and they could no longer take care of themselves. Like it is a little bit hard for them. They need that type of minimal assistance. We could help them find a location of choice for them. Of course, several factors would be considered. Budget, accessibility, and amenities that the assisted living place is providing.
Right, right. And then you also mentioned something about, let's say, home automation.
Home automation, this is geared primarily on residents who wanted to stay independent, but we all know they could no longer take care of themselves.
Right, right.
So especially if they have a lot of families involved, we could remotely monitor them.
Really?
Yes. So let's say, for instance, they have poor compliance as far as medication.
Right.
We set up the medication compliance reminder. So somebody from our office, let's say they're supposed to take the 10 o'clock medication.
Yes.
And 10:30 has lapsed, still hasn't taken the medication. Somebody from our office would call, Mr. Smith, you haven't taken your 10 o'clock medication.
Wow.
Now, if 2 hours has lapsed and nothing has been done, we would send an email or even an alert or notification to the responsible party, or in several situations, even call 911.
Wow. So you really can set that up.
Absolutely.
That's so much, because I wasn't too sure what that was about, and that makes
And right now, you know what, that's the trend. Like I've done some speaking engagement on how to minimize the hospital readmission, because one of the situations right now, once a patient gets discharged from the hospital, then after 30 days they go back because of poor compliance and follow-up with the primary physician.
Oh my goodness, of course, of course. And then you said in-home care. What's in-home care?
In-home care is like, the goal of a lot of people is to stay in place at home.
Yes.
But they needed help. So we send caregivers or nurses to assist them. Like for instance, setting up their meal preparation. Maybe that's the only type of assistance they would need, or somebody could help them drive around. Well, now, for instance, if they're having so much difficulty with bathing, transferring, or even toileting, that's we send a licensed professional such as a certified nursing assistant.
Oh my goodness. So I could still stay in my home.
Correct.
But I could have additional assistance there.
Absolutely. It's all about options.
Oh, and I like that, because as you can see, our first guest, we're talking about that, and now we're talking about more options.
Yeah.
And that's what we like.
And I always like that. Like, you know, it's all about providing a lot of options so that people could make an educated decision.
So, you know, how do you manage the cost of assisted living? I mean, that's kind of hard.
That's a very good question. Handling a cost of living on a skilled nursing facility varies. First of all, if you're staying in a skilled nursing facility, the payer source that they're taking would primarily focus on Medicare,
Okay.
long-term care,
Okay.
private pay. If you're going for an assisted living facility, they primarily focus on private pay and long-term care, rarely Medicaid.
Really? Medicaid?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Had no idea about that.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I tell you. So when we're trying to do an assessment planning, you know, how do you figure that out? What does it detail? How do you figure?
Finding the right location and services goes through a process. It starts with planning, implementation, evaluation. So let me go through the process. Planning starts like, you know, doing an evaluation of the financial background of the client, so as well as the physical well-being. You review the person's medical history. Then the second goal would be the planning. And then this is where you try to figure out the goals that you wanted to achieve. Then the implementation, wherein you provide your own checklist to review basically what needs to be accomplished on a daily or a weekly basis. And lastly, evaluation. If everything falls, it doesn't turn out pretty good, then you go back to your overall goal. You could start with assessment again. Maybe something went wrong along the way.
Wow. Okay. So you're kind of like figuring out all of those pieces there in terms of figuring. So, you know, okay, so, you know, full disclosure. I mean, how do you select a location? I mean, because it's kind of hard figuring that out.
Selecting the location should primarily focus on your client. Okay? But like accessibility, how far is it from your place? Because you'll be the additional support system for your family. But you should not discount the fact that the main reason you're placing somebody there is make sure that all the areas of concern of your mother is addressed based on the amenities that they'll be providing. A lot of people commit that mistake. Hey, that place is accessible, but does it address basically the client's condition? I've had an experience before that one of my clients picked a place that's located pretty close to their home. But I would get always this news, like, you know, their mother keeps on flagging cars nearby because that is not the right place for her.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
And the word that came from client's family told me, Michael, you've helped me find a place for my mom. The previous location she's been, it's considered more like a hotel, but you found a home for my mom.
It's a home for your mom, and that's key.
Yes.
Because it's a home, yeah.
Absolutely.
And a home they really deserve. So when you're researching, you know, how do you start researching? Where do you start?
Just like in any major decisions you're about to make, use the social media, use the internet, look at the reviews, consult with your local experts.
Really?
The case managers, social workers, elder care lawyers. These are resources, good resources for you.
Okay, okay. What are some red flags?
Red flags, this would be key. If there's a huge turnover in the facility, the overall sanitation of the building, and then inconsistencies and statements between personnel. Because most of the time, if you're trying to do some research and you need to talk with someone, if that person provides you the wrong information compared to the previous person you talked to, that would be a red flag for you.
Okay, so that's a red flag there. Okay. What about, you know, and you said if they have a turnover, so do you talk about turnover of staff or
turnover of staff?
Okay, but
because number one, it will boil down to consistency of care.
Yeah.
Right? Like that.
Yeah.
First person is supposed to provide assistance to your mother, for instance, and then there's another person. The second person probably might not provide the same type of care that the previous one is providing. So and if it's such a huge turnover, then you probably ask yourself at the back of your head, why are a lot of people leaving?
Wow. Okay, so that's really. Now, how do you check like for reviews? Are there reviews?
Yeah, there's reviews for nursing home or other group homes or other facilities. There, you could find it online, or even if you go to the facility itself. By law, they're supposed to leave that survey book over there, which you could review.
Okay, and if you don't see a survey book, what do you do?
What you could do, you could demand for it, and second, you could even check it online. You could
online.
compare basically reviews between nursing homes.
Wow. You know, you just helping everybody here.
Well, that's our goal, is basically to help a lot of people.
Oh my goodness. So, so you said that there's resources available. I want to age, my goal, okay, so just, you know, tell me. I want to age in place. I mean, I love where I live,
Yes.
my community. What can I do to make sure that this happens for me?
Well, aging in places should be everybody's goal.
Okay.
Nobody wants to live your house for so many years and then you'll be staying in one room in a nursing home facility.
Right.
But there's also other factors we should consider. Number one is your safety. Will you be able to take care of yourself?
Okay.
So that's a good thing that, you know, there are resources out there, such as if that person wanted to age in place and she just needs some minimal assistance, like having somebody there with meal preparation driving around, that's a good thing. That's a supplemental source of help that they could have.
Right.
And then, of course, like they say, just like what I said, one of the things that we're doing right now is remotely monitoring our clients. We could monitor their compliance as far as medication is concerned.
Fantastic.
And if there are fall risks, we could monitor that as well. And we could completely track everything. So just in case that they have a follow-up visit with their doctor, we could discuss this.
Really?
And we could come up with several interventions.
Wow. So let's say if I said, well, you know, I really want to, you know, stay here, and if I do have some decline, there are services that allow me to stay here.
Absolutely. That's why we have licensed professional. Again, if there's a significant change in their condition, we could address that one. We would come up with a plan of care for them.
So, okay, so that's really very interesting. So additional information. So viewers out there, they're watching this, like, okay, now I'm ready to start this step one. Where do I get additional information?
There are a lot of resources out there. Luckily, nowadays, technology plays a vital role. Use your internet. Use your local experts out there, the county, their social worker, case manager, director of nurses, administrators. They will be able to provide you with a lot of information that you could need. Now, in case they need my assistance, feel free. They could get in touch with me.
They have your information here. It's
Absolutely.
right on the third leg.
Yes.
Michael San Juan, always the best care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
you
for
so
being
much.
on Ingrid's World. It's a pleasure. Keep
It's
up the
always a
good
pleasure.
work. You're just amazing.
Thank you.
I would like to thank Evan Braff, Toni Clemons-Porter, Jennifer Robinson, and Michael San Juan for being incredible guests. And our quote this time is from former United States Secretary of State Colin Powell. Have a vision and be demanding. Thank you for watching Ingrid's World, and don't forget to friend us on Facebook and follow Ingrid's World VA in Twitter and Instagram for instant Ingrid World news. So stay in touch and be a blessing to someone today.